Warriors, welcome back to Gods of Alliance. The Scorching Flame season keeps moving forward, and this time, the spotlight turns toward one of the most underrated utility heroes in the game, Mew. And Warriors, this is important. Because unlike Abyss Splendor, where players were still debating whether the new structure was worth the investment, Path to Perfection actually feels rewarding, efficient, accessible, and for many accounts, extremely valuable. This is the kind of event where smart players gain progression quietly, while everyone else wastes resources in the wrong places. So today we break everything down properly. The best tasks, the worst tasks, where your emeralds should go, what to skip completely, and most importantly, how to maximize this event without burning your account for no reason. Because that is what Gods of Alliance is about. Not blind grinding, not random spending. Strategy. Now before we even touch the task chains, let's talk about Mew herself. Because Warriors, this hero is becoming more and more relevant inside the current environment. Physical attackers, dodge teams, fast pressure compositions. Mew disrupts all of them extremely well. And now, with magical critical hit mechanics becoming more important because of heroes like Kendall, suddenly Mew starts looking even more valuable for the future than many players originally expected. She is not just a niche support anymore. She is slowly becoming part of a growing magical pressure ecosystem. And that matters. Now, of course, many players are asking the same question already. How far should we build her? And realistically, Warriors, 5 stars is the sweet spot. Do not rush 6 stars immediately unless you are heavily investing into the hero already. Save your resources. Wait for the evolution book later. That alone can save your account massive amounts of value. As for progression goals, level 16, equipment minimum, 5-star artifacts minimum, proper glyph investment, and enough survivability for arena and guild war usage. That already gives you a very strong Mew without destroying your resources completely. Now, let's move into the event itself. Because this event is divided into 3 different sections: Path to Perfection, Blind Faith, and Blind Sky. And immediately, Warriors, the important thing here is understanding efficiency. Some tasks are amazing. Some tasks are traps. And if you approach this event correctly, you can gain enormous value. So let's begin with Path to Perfection. This is the core progression chain for Mew herself. Leveling, equipment upgrades, energy spending, emerald usage, VIP progression. The standard structure players already know very well. Nothing complicated here. Most active players will naturally progress through these tasks just by playing normally. But then, the realm tasks arrive. And this is where things start becoming more questionable. The first realm task is gathering iron. This one is completely fine. Simple, easy, passive. Just send gathering parties throughout the day and you complete it naturally without effort. Very good task. But then, Keeper of the Borders appears. And Warriors, this is exactly the type of task players are getting tired of. 55 monster kills. Every day. Constant clicking. Constant realm energy usage, minimal enjoyment, and the rewards? Not worth it at all. This is one of those task chains where the developers clearly pushed engagement time harder than reward quality. And honestly, for most players, this should simply be skipped completely. Save your sanity. Save your realm energy. Move on. Then we reach Warcry. The troop training task. 10,000 troops daily. Again, terrible value if you try forcing it every single day. But there is one smart way to approach it. Day 2. Because Day 2 overlaps with guild versus troop training progression. And that means you can complete both objectives at the same time. That is efficient. That is smart resource management. So our recommendation is simple. Complete Warcry only during overlap value days. Ignore it during the rest. That alone already saves huge amounts of unnecessary investment. Now, Warriors, let's move into the real highlight of the event. Blind Faith. And immediately, Outland discount returns. This is where value explodes. Because Whether you are free to play or a massive spender, Outland discounts remain one of the best emerald investments in Hero Wars. Skin Stones, Hero Progression, Long-Term Scaling. This is real account power. And because this event chain rewards players directly for opening Outland chests, most active players will complete a huge part of the progression naturally. Which means more shop coins, more relic shards, more progression materials. And unlike some realm tasks, this actually feels rewarding. Now alongside Outland chests, we also get login tasks, VIP tasks, mission completions, tower chest openings, expeditions, blind sky progression overlap, and overall warriors, this chain feels very smooth for the majority of players. Most accounts should comfortably complete a large percentage of it without stress. That alone already makes this one of the better seasonal events we've had recently. Now we move into Blind Sky, and this is where opinions start splitting. Because instead of Outland chests, Blind Sky focuses on heroic chests. Now for newer players, this can actually be extremely valuable. Soul Stones, Rune Stones, Sparks of Power, Progression Materials, all useful. But for older accounts, heroic chest value becomes much more situational. Many veteran players prioritize Outland discounts much more heavily because Skinstone progression simply scales harder long-term. Still, there is one very important situation where heroic chests become extremely powerful again: Super Skins. Because if you missed older Super Skin releases, this is one of the few places where you can realistically chase them. And there is another important detail many players ignore. If your 6-star heroes already completed Sparks of Power, the heroic chest starts converting large portions of value into rune stones instead. And suddenly, the value changes dramatically. So if you are a late-game player hunting super skins while farming rune stones simultaneously, this becomes very attractive, especially during the heroic chest discount on day 4. And warriors, this is exactly why understanding your account matters. Because the best event strategy is not universal. What is efficient for one player may be terrible for another. New accounts need soul stones. Late-game accounts need optimization. Competitive accounts need progression efficiency. And Path to Perfection actually gives multiple types of players useful options depending on their stage of the game. That is why this event works much better than Abyss Splendor overall. It feels less restrictive, less punishing, more rewarding, and much more achievable for free-to-play players too. Now, alongside heroic chests, Blind Sky also includes guild activity, Titanite contribution, arena battles, grand arena progression, blind faith overlap tasks. Again, very manageable objectives for active players. Nothing absurd, nothing impossible. And because so many of these tasks overlap naturally with daily gameplay, most players can gain huge amounts of shop coins without destroying resources unnecessarily. And warriors, that is what makes an event feel good. Not impossible grind walls, not endless clicking, not realm exhaustion, efficient progression. Now overall, Path to Perfection feels like one of the strongest seasonal events we've had in a while for account development, especially if you play smart. Focus Outland discounts, prioritize overlap value, ignore low-efficiency realm chains, use heroic chests strategically, and push progression where your account benefits most. Simple, efficient, powerful. And Miyu herself? She may quietly become one of the smartest investments players can make moving forward, especially with magical critical hit mechanics continuing to evolve across the meta. So warriors, this is absolutely an event worth paying attention to. Not because it looks flashy, but because it gives real progression opportunities to players who understand how to maximize value. And that is what separates smart accounts from struggling accounts over time. Now we want to hear from you. Are you investing into Miyu? Are you skipping heroic chests? Do you think Path to Perfection is better than Abyss Splendor? Let us know below, because here at Gods of Alliance, we don't waste resources blindly. We study progression, we optimize strategy, and we break the game together.